developments in the Hillary Clinton email probe. The Washington Post reporting senior Clinton aide Cheryl Mills and her lawyer walked out of a recent interview with the FBI after Mills was asked a question she felt was off limits. It involved the procedure used to produce emails for public release by the State Department. She returned a short time later, but reportedly never answered the question. This, as the Washington Free Beacon reports, Hillary Clinton has gotten nearly $75,000 in donations from employees at the Justice Department, the same agency deciding whether to bring charges in the email scandal. And that's renewing calls for Attorney General Loretta Lynch to appoint a special independent counsel to handle this case. Tony, apparently the cover that Cheryl Mills is using, who was her chief of staff, by the way, while she was Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton was, is that she is an attorney herself and wasn't supposed to be asked questions on this particular topic. What do you make of it?
Which seems so ridiculous, because isn't that such an elementary question? What was the procedure you put in place that suggested what emails get released? It wasn't exactly a hard one there. And that goes again to reinforce the whole idea that they're hiding something. I've never understood that if Hillary Clinton genuinely did nothing wrong and this was just an accidental thing where she thought she could have her own server, she thought she could conduct all official business on her own private email, and she found out later, oh, oops, I was wrong. Why are they going to such great lengths to kind of really keep information away from the public? And the second, the corollary piece of this whole thing is these DOJ contributions, right? This is what bothers me when you know that these Department of Justice employees are supporting Hillary Clinton and are also going to render verdict, essentially, on whether or not she gets indicted. You could easily have a special counsel. And this goes back to this whole idea that everything the Clintons do seems rigged. This inside game that they control, this power game, this inside the beltway political system that they just seem to always master. Super delegates in the convention process, and right now in this whole situation, the fact that they have all these employees in the DOJ as supporters.
And Sadra, it raises the issue of if this is going on in these interviews and we're still waiting for Hillary Clinton to actually sit down with the FBI, what kind of investigation really is this?
Yeah, it clearly points to the tension that is involved, and it continues to escalate. But I'm with you. You look at the investigation, and it's confusing, and you wonder why the general public isn't on this more. Because not only do we learn that there were certain questions that were off limits in this FBI probe, but they can leave the room, confer, come back and say, you know, we're actually not going to answer that question. I mean, it really makes you wonder if we're getting the most thorough FBI investigation.
And Harris, the Washington Post article says that Mills is a cooperative witness. That's how they refer to her.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's not being rude. She just doesn't want to tell them what they want to know. I mean, right? So she's cooperating in the sense that she's saying please and thank you, I would imagine. But, you know, here's the one question that I want to know if they've asked her yet, and would she get up out of the room and have to think about it, is, did you have the kind of clearance that was needed when you were looking at these emails? I mean, to me, that's really the issue here. Like, maybe she can give some ancillary information, maybe she can't. They've got Brian Pagliano, and he's got immunity, and he's talking, obviously. But really, she was touching potentially classified and top secret information. And I realized she was an attorney, but those were emails that were being passed around. So did she have the kind of clearance that it took? Because we know at least 22 of them, nobody at the nobody at the State Department could go through them again without a certain clearance to even say if they could be turned over in the investigation.
And assuming that Hillary Clinton does sit down with the FBI, you can't lie to the FBI. That's a crime. But guess what? The FBI can lie to you when they're interrogating you. They have free will to lie to you. Do you think she ever sits down with them?
No. I think the exhaustion with this, other than all the things we've just covered, is that why is there always a second set of rules for the Clintons? They can get away with anything. If this were a Republican, if this were Dick Cheney, the media would be all over it, the FBI would be all over it, but because she's a liberal and because she's Queen Hillary that's being anointed, despite the fact that she's not earning it right now, they're going to let her get away with this. And if we actually found out what was in those emails, it would probably be bad news for the Democratic Party right now. And it just seems shady and mafia style and crazy from the top down.
And it's also bad news that Bernie Sanders seems to have stolen the scepter. So the White House insisting there will be